Hi, I'm Lara Bakewell and I'm a primary school teacher. So I think, first of all, we're often emailed and sent things from various companies like promotional materials. Email is good. Obviously, we get lots of emails from lots of different places. So I think the main thing that's really important to catch our attention is for it to be clearly headed and just to make sure that it's clear who it's intended for. So if, for example, it's about new books, new resources, if the email says what that's about, then when the school receives it, they can send it to the right person. So primary schools will have subject leads, so there'll be a head of English who, if it can get to that person, that's a really good start, because they can then look at it, decide whether it's relevant for our school. If it's for a particular key stage, they can then send it to the teachers within that key stage, so it can actually end up getting to the right person. That's really important. If it's sort of resources or sample materials, then again, I think it's just really important that it's either addressed to English subject lead, or if it's for particular year groups, you won't necessarily know who is in that year group, but if it actually says materials that are useful for Key Stage 1 or materials that are useful for Key Stage 2, then hopefully it should end up with the relevant person. And then, yeah, it's just a case of grabbing our attention, I suppose. Freebies always go down well. Information about what it is that you're offering, whether it's resources, whether it's events that are on, it's just being as clear as possible and giving us the information if it links in with how it links in with the national curriculum, so that we know how we can incorporate it into our teaching. I think with book events, it's about inspiring the children with their reading and with their writing. So pre-COVID, we had some live events. We did have a couple of authors come in, and it was just absolutely brilliant. I think that's one of the best ways to encourage children, especially maybe reluctant readers, to really get interested in books. So that always goes down really well. Anything that will excite the children and excite the teachers will help. Obviously, that's been really hard, sort of having live events over the last year. We've all got used to talking through screens. But when we are sort of up and running and able to do things in person again, it's great if we can meet people in real life. Things that will encourage children to read. So we're really lucky where we are. We have lots of really, really passionate readers. We have a really passionate head of English who is all over anything book related. And we have quite a few events in various year groups throughout the year, whether it's a reading challenge, or sort of competitions throughout the year to encourage reading. But I think, you can never have too much of a good thing. So yeah, something interesting, something that will capture the children's attention, whether that's something to do with a particular author, whether it involves some kind of competition, because primary children are very competitive. They're very easy to excite and get enthusiastic about things given the right incentive and given the right starting point. That's one of the great things about primary teaching, because the children really are just so enthusiastic when you get their attention. So I think something that's fun, appealing, like I say, appealing to their competitive nature, but without it being too competitive and that going, the wrong way. Something that all children can access, all children can have a go at, and that celebrates all children reading, no matter what their level. again, really lucky that we have a lot of really good reading books. I think, again, you can never have too many, so we would never say no to more reading books. And our English coordinator is always on the lookout. But I have noticed our sort of non-fiction resources are looking a little bit, shall we say, tired, particularly things like dictionaries, thesauruses, across the school. And I recently noticed when some very small infant children came into year 6 to collect some atlases, that they're carrying away these books where the front covers are falling off, and then you're sort of doing some geography work with them and realizing that some of the countries don't even exist anymore. So I know that we could definitely do with more sort of non-fiction staple resources like atlases, dictionaries, thesauruses. Otherwise, I know we are pretty well stocked, but that's not to say we're not always on the lookout for new interesting books, particularly those that might appeal to some of the more reluctant readers. Often it's difficult finding books that are the right level for perhaps older children who are perhaps at a lower age reading level than what their actual age is, because obviously the easier books tend to be aimed at smaller children, whereas a year 5 child or a year 6 child doesn't want to read a book about Biff, Kip and Chipper going to the Kipper, it's not Chipper, is it? It's Kipper, going to the zoo, when actually they're year 5 and 6. They want to read books that look like year 5 and 6 books, but have a reading level that is lower for them to be able to access. So that's definitely something that we're always on the lookout for.